Hey guys, I've made it to Venice, La Serenissima. Wow, for all the things I've heard of it, I've actually written about it as well in terms of the issues that they've been having with tourism. But wow, seeing it in person is incredible. It is beautiful. I mean, it's beautiful.
As a first-timer, I decided to stay in the St. Mark's district, which is the most touristed and visited of all. But even then, along the quiet canals, I found absolutely no one. But of course, I knew that eventually I would stumble on the crowds in the center of St. Mark's. St. Mark's is where all of the main tourist sites are concentrated. If you look at this map, in the red circle there, that is St. Mark's Square, also home to the Doge Palace, built in the 14th century and home to the former government of the Republic of Venice. Next to it, St. Mark's Basilica, standing for almost 1,000 years, covered in gold-ground mosaics depicting biblical scenes and Gothic architecture. From there, most tourists continue their way to walk up the steps and go to the Rialto Bridge. Of course, the famous bridge where everyone crowds the steps. And you're actually not supposed to stand there for too long, according to Visit Venice's 12 Good Rules for Responsible Visitor Behavior posted online. Now, overtourism isn't really about just overcrowding. It's about the unsustainable growth of tourism, which has changed the character of a place. Tourism jobs become the only job available, cost of living increases, housing turns into short-term rentals, and all of that drives residents out of the city. Now, of course, Venice isn't the only place suffering from overtourism, as we've seen recently. Spain, however, has a different issue. It's really more about the fact that tourism's benefits are not flowing to its residents. In Venice, 2/3 of visitors are day trippers, and that's why the city instituted a €5 entrance fee for day trippers. Ideally, those funds would go toward compensating for the impact of those crowds on the infrastructure, on Venice's lagoon, and encouraging low-season visits. The good news is you can get away from the crowds. Start by seeing Venice at night. Our hotel arranged this private boat ride for just about 3 guests. For an hour, we took in the beauty of Venice at night, which is a completely different experience. It's also a great way to see the sights and scope out the neighborhoods. The next morning, grab coffee at Ozio, north of St. Mark's Square, and then steps away is the Fondazione Cherini Stampaglia, a great museum choice showing how the rich once lived as merchants in Venice. This is the Cherini Stampaglia family's quarters, from their libraries to their bedrooms, and it is just fascinating. It was definitely a great alternative to the Doge Palace, which, while worth visiting, looks like this on cruise ship day. Rialto Market with Jane Damosto, resident founder of We Are Here Venice. She took me to Palazzo Damosto, which belongs to her family and is now a gallery and history museum, after grabbing lunch at this ultra-local spot. And then the most serendipitous thing happened. The annual Vogalonga took place on my last day in Venice. This is an annual event celebrated by Venetians as well as visitors from neighboring countries. A 19-mile journey by gondola, by wooden boat, by kayak, and they navigate the lagoon, its islets, and the Grand Canal. It's a non-competitive journey. It's all about celebrating the importance of preserving the city's waterways. I waited for the first kayaks to come in at Ponte Tre Archi, Cannaregio neighborhood, and it's delightful there. I love it. It's lots of lunch spots away from tourist traps. The mood was so festive. It was infectious. It was a real glimpse of local life, continuing away from the cruise crowds of St. Mark's Square.
Oh my god, I had goosebumps. Really spectacular, and I just love that they keep up that tradition. Despite all the bad press, and the stuff about overtourism, locals are, the ones that remain, are hanging on to these traditions, and I love it. And I feel very blessed to be here for it, even though I didn't plan on it. Look at this. 0 tourists. 0.
In Dorso Duro neighborhood, the Laguna Viva free permanent exhibit at Sud-Est 1401 Bar and Restaurant is the brainchild of NGO We Are Here Venice. A series of water tanks recreate the salt marsh habitat of the lagoon surrounding Venice, and it's meant to stir conversation about the importance of preserving the living lagoon and the natural systems that protect it from harm, including harm from big cruise ships and pollution. Of course, it wouldn't be Venice without a gondola ride. I mean, where else can you do this? It's €100, yes, and you can do it solo. I did. I didn't really care. My husband could make the trip, but I wasn't about to miss out. Of course, you might get a lot of comments from bystanders, laughs, some were clapping, some were giving me thumbs up, a lot of them tourists, and I would just clap right back and wave. It was a delightful way to enjoy Venice up close, get close to the lagoon. Before I knew it, 3 days had passed and it was time to leave Venice.
God, I'm gonna miss Venice.
But there's always time for one more boat ride to the airport, to take in Venice's beauty just once more. Despite the crowds and the changed character of St. Mark's District, there is an authenticity that is still alive and well here in Venice, in the lagoon, in its buildings, in its culture, when you stay long enough to get past the crowds. So when you do visit, be mindful so you're not contributing to Venice's demise. Visit in the off-season when crowds are few and prices reasonable, stay overnight in a hotel, sign up for locally led tours, pay extra for transportation, don't drag your suitcase on the cobblestones, and respect that there are residents, families, university students here for whom Venice is still home. Have you been to Venice or are you planning to go? Feel free to ask me questions in the comments. For my next travel vlog, I'll take you to Sicily, which was my first stop on this same trip.